What's going on, guys? So I am out here at my buddy's R-Pod because we are considering doing an upgrade to it that he has been wanting for a while. And that is removing this dinette and dropping in a sofa. Mainly because there's just not a lot of usable space here once you have the table in, and because of how far the sides sit out. So we're basically going to measure the width, we're going to measure the length, and we're going to determine if this can be cut back or modified so we can put a small sofa in here, or even a jackknife sofa that will give them about 2 more feet worth of room whenever it's in its sofa position, while still giving them an ability to have a spot for their kid to sleep. Okay, so we took the measurements and it's exactly 73.5 inches wide, and we have plenty of room in terms of depth. Most jackknife sofas are only going to be about 43, 44 inches in a sleeping position, and about 28, 29 inches when they're up in a sofa position in terms of depth. Most of them are also going to be within that 68 to 72 inch range, which is going to give us the perfect width. We will have to kind of work on some of the cabinetry below it and move it back. The good thing is the pass-through on the side and the back does not interfere by coming up too far. And if you don't know what that means, is the pass-through in the back, there's in the very back corner of the R-Pod. So when you open it, there's space inside of it to the right, and we have room to actually move the cabinet back slightly to accommodate the shorter sofa that will be going in there, or at least a sofa that's not quite as deep as the dinette that's currently in there. But when we are done, he's really not going to lose much except maybe a little bit of dinette room when eating. But for the most part, it's not room that they've utilized. And we're going to get a lot of extra room because the jackknife sofa is going to take up such a smaller amount of space than the dinette does. All right, guys, so we are back at the R-Pod. We took the weekend to tackle this project. It was an interesting project to do. It was actually relatively quick because we really only needed to remove some paneling, cut the front of the little cabinets underneath the dinette off, move them back, and then install the sofa. And it was a pretty quick install. I'd say all in all, about 2 hours. So let's take a quick moment and go over some of the upgrades that we've already done to this trailer. The first one and most noticeable is we've added this jacket bicycle rack up front. This is really cool, and it allows the owner to carry several bicycles with him whenever he goes out camping. Secondly, we've upgraded the electric tongue jack to this Bulldog tongue jack. This is a much faster and stronger unit than the original tongue jack that came on here. We've also added the Andersen no sway hitch. So this is a sway control weight distribution hitch. Didn't really need it for weight distribution as much as he needed it for sway control. And this gives you a ton of sway control, especially for a relatively light trailer like this. So this specific R-Pod is the RP190, and the way it's designed and laid out is that the back of it has a booth-style dinette that wraps around. It then has a slide on the other side for the kitchen, a bathroom across from it, and a queen-size bed up front. The change we made to this specific trailer is to remove the dinette from the back and install a jackknife sofa. So he liked the interior layout, but some of the challenges that he had ultimately were that if you're just going to use the dinette area for eating, it was fine. You could seat a lot of people, it was comfortable. But when you were done eating and you wanted to turn it into a sofa or an area to lounge and relax, it was very clunky and not really comfortable. So he wanted something that would work better. Plus, whenever his child needed to go to bed, he would have to convert the dinette, and that took some time because you have a table you have to move out of the way, then you have to put a board down, and you have to put your cushions in the right order to support it as a bed. So he wanted to do something different, and we found the perfect size jackknife sofa on e-trailer that we were able to get installed in here, and I want to show you what it looks like. Climbing on board his RP190. So this is what it looks like now. So before, he had this big dinette area that wrapped around, and I'll show you some pictures of that. Basically, these cabinets right here were out much further, so they had to be trimmed off and pushed back slightly so it would fit under the sofa. This is a jackknife sofa. And as you can see, we got the specific one needed to fit the width of the back of his R-Pod. And the nice thing about these Thomas Payne jackknife sofas is that they come in multiple lengths, specifically to fit different types of RVs that they might go in. In some cases, this might be the width for a slide. In some cases, it might be the width for a wider travel trailer. But for what he needed, he picked the perfect one out, and I think it fits perfectly. If you look at it, there really is no gap behind it. From the front, there's a lot of room here, and we're still in the process of trimming off some of these areas where you see some wires. These were pushed back, so we basically cut the front panels off, trimmed back as much as we need, and then moved them back. But now he has a fully functional Jackknife Sofa. So that's all he needs to do now to convert this from a seating area or a lounging area into an area that can be used as a bed. So that's really cool. And it's even larger. It actually has more of a footprint than the dinette that he had in here before. So I think he's going to get a lot of use out of this. This is absolutely a big upgrade, and it's one that almost anyone can do. Now I've propped it up in a bit of a V position here. It's kind of halfway between a deployed position and a seated position, and you can see what we've done. We simply trimmed off this part of the cabinet back. We took the face panels that were already here, moved them back, and then we simply took some of the extra wood and trimmed off the top of these as well. So it just rests directly on top. We did not need the leg kit for this since it would be sitting on top of these cabinets. But if you look at it, it is a very cool design. And when it's back in its seated position, tons of room. Before, the dinette came out to about here. You didn't have a lot of room to move around. Now look at all the room you have. And from a comfort perspective, it is so much more comfortable than it used to be. It's just a much cushier seating area. You can see the TV perfectly. It is really the perfect setup for the back of an R-Pod, and it's one that if you have an R-Pod, you might want to consider doing. Plus, the center folds down and you have a place to put your drinks. You have a nice cup holder, kind of an armrest center there. And that's also really nice, especially if you want to watch TV. And real quick, let's take a look in the front storage area, or actually the back storage area, to show you. This right here was out that way just a hair, but as you can see, it goes still right to the edge of the entrance, and you have plenty of room. You really didn't lose any storage at all, maybe about 6 inches this way, but overall, there's still a lot of storage in here. So even after this modification's been done, he still retained pretty much all of his pass-through storage. That's really nice. So from a storage perspective, he's still maintaining pretty much all of his storage. He still has his main storage up front, and he has the storage here in the back as well. So really, the only thing he lost was a bulky dinette booth that really wasn't needed. So to finish up the entire project, there's a few things that still need to be done. Of course, like I mentioned, we need to cover the wires up right there. There's a couple small screw holes in the bottom, and there's some up against the wall there that you might be able to see. And then on the inside of the door here, there's some trim that had to be removed, so we're just going to replace that. Ultimately, though, I think it looks really good, and it did free up a tremendous amount of space. With that slide out, you even have more space in front of it, and I think all in all, this is really how the floor plan or the interior of the back should have been. If they wanted to really make it focused around the dinette, they could put some nice little table legs in the floor here that you can simply put your typical RV table in, and you'll have a nice table to eat over. But I think it looks really good, guys. This is such a cool upgrade to do on this R-Pod. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel. I will put a link in the description if you are interested in doing the same upgrade to your travel trailer or RV. There's so many applications that this would work in, and these come in multiple different sizes. Again, guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up. We'll talk to you again very soon.